This year I really want to dedicate some of my space to flowers a lot more than last year, and I want a lot more color, a lot more vibrancy, and I wanted to pick some flowers that would be in different parts of the season, so I didn't have them all just in the middle of the summer. I wanted more in the spring, some that would go into the fall. So today I'm actually going to plant some flowers. I picked out some peonies, which are more of an early or a spring to early summer kind of bloom. I got a few more dahlias to add some variety into my color wave. And I have some other things that I want to plant, some things with fragrance and things. So it's not all getting planted now, but there are a few things that you're supposed to plant as early as February to give it some time in the ground for those earlier spring blooms. So I'm going to do a few of those things today. I was hoping to plant some things here in front of this tree because it's just kind of bare. There are a few native flowers, early spring flowers that pop up here, but other than that, I was hoping to bring a little more color in. And after studying some of the sun and shade patterns, I decided it was just a little too shady for what I had to plant now, so I might have to figure something else out. But I wanted to show you, while I'm sitting here, some of the things I plan to plant today. So I've got this beautiful kind of white, pinky peony, some kind of coral and rose-colored peonies, and then here's some of the dahlias I picked up. Usually you wait to plant dahlias, but if you saw my very first video I posted on YouTube, you'll see that I'm actually overwintering my dahlias from last year in the ground. And where I'm going to plant these is actually going to be kind of protected from the elements because it's under a tree, but it still gets good sun. So I'm going to go ahead and just plant them now while I'm digging the holes. I'm going to put all these in the same area. And I'm hoping it'll kind of give me a wave of color starting more in the spring, going into summer. And then I've got some other things I'm hoping to get to today. We'll see. This is the area. It's right as you drive in to our place where I'm wanting to put most of these dahlias and peonies. And I'm arranging them. There's multiple bulbs in some of these bags, so I'm just going to kind of arrange them, give them some space apart from each other. I also have, they're kind of hard to see, but I have strawberries along this border. And then over here are a ton of snapdragons, which I actually planted in the spring, and they didn't come up in the spring. They waited to come up until the fall. And as you can see, some of them actually started blooming. They're a little worse for wear now. And there's also yarrow that I transplanted over here. So my goal with this is to just create a little really colorful entry to our home and hopefully attract some more pollinators. It's right next to the garden. From this little section, just walk down this little path and we're in the garden. So it's just adjacent, but I want to bring a lot of beauty into this yard in general, not just good things to eat, although that's obviously a big goal. Okay, let's get digging. Okay, I've got my holes dug, and the top little bit of soil is nice and rich and black, and that's because it's all stuff that I added last year. But under it's really compact and rocky. So I am adding a little bit of potting soil that I just had left over from some previous potting, like pots that I planted with stuff. Okay, these are all in the ground, hibernating. And for my next order of business, I have this chain link fence, and I was thinking, I don't know if you can see how exposed this yard is. I like to create a little privacy without compromising sunshine hitting the garden. So I'm going to try planting some sweet peas and some things like this, mainly to protect them from getting weed whacked on accident. I'll actually put this on the other side of the fence. And I'm hoping that it'll grow up this fence, smell good, attract bees. I'm going to do this corner over here too. Kind of got some space in the mulch where I put down some soil. So the types that I have, this pink is a bush variety, so I'm just going to put that on a border of a ornamental bed. But the other three I just mixed, and they've been soaking in water like this for a couple hours now. I'm going to go ahead and space them out about maybe 2 or 3 inches apart and just let them go wild here. So yeah, I'll get that planted next.
Before deciding to direct sow sweet peas, I did quite a bit of YouTube research looking into starting them indoors ahead of time. And what I found was that most people who are doing this were in a lot colder climate, and sweet peas do need a cold period, but they can't get too cold. And with our mild winter and just how mild our winters are in general here, I realized that probably the best way to go about planting sweet peas in my climate is to just direct sow them, let them enjoy that chill period outside, and that they will pop up when they're ready. This is my first time growing sweet peas, so for me this is experimental. Don't take this as advice, it's just my thought process and why I decided to direct sow them rather than try to start them indoors. Now that the sweet peas are sown, I am just grabbing these snapdragon seeds. I have lots of extras, even after sowing some inside in the seed trays. So I'm going to just use the rest of these up, sprinkle them around in some of these more ornamental beds around my entry, around the front door, and just try to add them in places where they'll look beautiful and they might grow. While I was at it, I went ahead and pinched off the tops of any snapdragons that were outside, and then I checked on my indoor starts for snapdragons. These have their second set of leaves now, so I will soon be thinning these to 1 per cell.
Another thing that I transplanted this fall before I moved the garden beds around was this mint. There was about 3 varieties of mint that had been planted into raised beds by the previous owner, I'm assuming, and it was spreading all over the place. It was in the walkways. It had basically turned into a weed, but the mint was very productive. And there was chocolate mint, I think probably spearmint and apple mint is what I'm guessing based on the characteristics. And I had been picking from them all summer and spring. And so I transplanted them into pots. I have 4 pots full of them. There's 2 big galvanized ones back there and 2 over here. And hopefully that will, I have a feeling I'm probably still going to be finding mint in my in-ground space for a while, and I'll keep pulling it out. If you didn't know, mint, you're really not supposed to plant it in ground because it just spreads like crazy. But in the pots, it should be safe, and I'll still be able to enjoy the mint. So anyways, it's a very warm winter day. It's the last day of January, and so February's right around the corner. I don't need a coat. It's a crazy year. So we may still get some freezes, but the things that I planted today should be fine with the way that I planted them in. Either they like the cool weather and they kind of need some time in the cold before they start growing, or they're protected enough in the way that I planted them that they should be good with our pretty mild winter. So I'm just trying to give them a head start so I get some early blooms, and I'm just enjoying the nice weather while we have it. I think that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Bye.